Okay, so the interview you're about to watch is with Rob. He's the sound man that I managed to interview over at the IBC, but this is now the full-length interview, and he has some great tips, knowledge, and advice that he shares on how to get into the industry. He talks about his expedition down at the South Pole and how he kept his kit alive in such extreme conditions. And he also talks about timecode systems, which is very important, obviously, when you're dealing with sound and camera and making sure that the audio is in sync at all times with the pictures. And so, yeah, whether you're in any department at all, this guy's got great advice. You don't necessarily need to be a sound man to be interested in this interview. It covers pretty much everything. But if you are a sound man, you're going to love this one. Rob is a proper location sound recordist, and he knows what he's talking about. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so I'm here with Rob from Timecode Systems Limited. Rob, do us a favour, just tell us what you do and what you've done.
Okay, so I'm a freelance sound recordist, and I've been doing it for over 20 years now, which makes me quite old. I don't feel old, but anyway, so I joined the BBC when I was 19, and I did an apprenticeship with them, and then I was made redundant in 2002, and then became a freelance sound recordist from that point.
So what are you doing here at the IBC?
So I'm here at the IBC with Timecode Systems, because I use their products a lot. So I'm one of their independent experts, and so as a freelance sound recordist, we have to obviously now use timecode a lot on location. And when I first started, it was just very simple. We'd turn up with a mixer and a microphone and plug into the back of a camera, and then away we'd go and we'd shoot all over the world. Whereas now, you turn up and you've got to record separately in your bag, and they want you to look after timecode, and you've got to look after obviously all your sound as well. And so you're looking for products that are going to make that really easy for you. So I find that having used Timecode Systems products, it's just really simple for me to just deal with the timecode and then be able to get on with the actual job which we've got to do, which is get really good sound for people. So I've used it all over the world. There's a picture of me on the back of the stand here. I'm slightly embarrassed, but we went to the South Pole, and I took their equipment with us, and we had to be very, very lightweight. So I was using their equipment, using just two TRXs to transmit timecode from the mixer to the camera, and just meant that we could keep in sync, and I could wander off and get the sound where I needed to from the people we were filming, and the cameraman could go and do what he needs to do without me having to worry about cables breaking and all this stuff in between. So it's really crucial that you just get the right equipment.
How do you find the kit working in such extreme conditions and low temperatures?
Yeah, you've got to look after your kit. That's the thing. When you're paid to be a sound recordist, wherever they take you in the world, you've got to look after your kit. So you need to take steps to do that. No one else is going to do that for you. So for me, when I was using the stuff in the cold, I'd make little gloves for it and put hand warmers in it, and did that with microphones, and did that with pretty much everything, just to try and keep the ambient temperature up on everything.
That's really good, actually, because I've seen pictures just like yours on the backboard there with sound recordists and cameramen in sub-zero temperatures. I always wondered how they kept the kit warm enough to operate, because obviously sub-zero temperatures, the kit's going to start failing, isn't it?
Exactly, and so you have to make sure that you can work in those temperatures, and it applies not only to the cold but to the hot as well. You know, if you're working in deserts and stuff like that, no one else is going to look after your equipment. It's up to you. And so if you turn around to a production in day 2 and say, I'm sorry, everything's broken, they're going to say, well, why are you here? So so it is looking after it. So I had a special bag made for the South Pole and the North Pole, which meant that I could keep my hands warm and the equipment warm. And it's just making things like that you just, you know, just think about how you're going to work. How is it going to work in the field? Don't just think about it in theory. Try it out at home and make it so it's really, really easy for you to work. Know your kit. That's the key. Know your kit.
What would you have done to make your first year as a freelancer easier if you had today's technology and the internet?
Oh, that's really good. That's a really good question. I mean, the fortunate thing about when I went freelance was I had a really good, almost sort of like a dress book of people I'd worked with at the BBC. So people sort of knew me already. I think when you're starting out as a sound recordist, it's really hard these days. And so you just need to get experience wherever you can. So you know, if you're keen, just be really keen. Don't, and sort of not annoy people, but just be tenacious about going after work. So just get to know people. Don't annoy them, but just get to know people. It's more about relationship than it is about tech sometimes. Everybody gets so ingrained in the tech, oh, we've got to have the best tech. Yes, you've got to have good equipment. Yes, you've got to have a good equipment that works. And yes, you've got to know how to use it. But at the end of the day, if you don't know how to talk to people and relate to people, they're not going to ask you back. So I would just say, just get to know people and get, if there's something you're really passionate about in terms of a subject or something, go after that sort of work. You know, if you want to do documentaries, find the cameramen who do those documentaries and go and talk to them. But don't talk to them saying, I'm really good, I'm going to come and work for you. But just say, can I just come and talk to you about how you work on a documentary? Just get to know people.
Yeah, it seems people like to help other people out.
They do genuinely. This is a very friendly industry, and it's quite a big. I always think it's a big family, and some people are just. I'm not competitive about my work at all. I think there's probably people out there who are better than. Well, there are people out there who are better than me. There are people out there who know more than me technically, but at the end of the day, I just think we're a big family, and we can help each other out. And we don't have to be sort of going, oh, he's rubbish. Oh, you don't want to use him because he's this and he's that. Just help each other. And you know, if you've got questions, find a sound recorder and say, how did you do that? We're more than happy to talk about it, because to be honest with you, I'm getting on. I'm not going to be able to carry a bag around forever, so I'm happy to pass my information on to other people.
Good stuff. It's good to hear. How do you currently find work at the moment?
So I find work. You find work basically where you'll work for someone, and then they'll come back and find you, and they might pass you on to someone else. So
it's all word of mouth then.
It's generally word of mouth, and I would say, it's just a question of just talk to everybody on a production, because everybody is at some point might be your boss, and there's so many. So if you might meet a runner. But that runner in 10, 15 years' time is probably going to be a producer or an executive producer or a commissioner, and they'll remember you if you were shouting at them because your tea didn't have sugar in.
So give me one internet resource and one gadget that you couldn't live without.
Okay, so the internet resource I like to use. There's a few, but joining a forums are really good, just to talk to people and just to get a feel for what's going on in the industry and what kit's being used. One of the things that I love is just I can't remember. There's a Sennheiser website. If you're traveling abroad, it's just for looking at the frequencies which you can use all over the world for your radio mics. It's really critical, and a lot of people don't do it. But if you go to America and you use the wrong frequency, you won't get any range on your radio mics. So it's worth doing. It's worth doing the research. So the internet's brilliant. Kit I couldn't live without. I absolutely love my sound devices. I'm going to go through them all actually. I love Rycote. I've worked with Rycote ever since I started, and their products are getting better and better. But just for like Timecode systems for me is really, really useful, because it's such a brilliant resource that you can take to the production and put on the cameras, and it's not a big hassle, it's not a big unit, but it saves so much time for them in the edit. And so they'll come back and they'll remember you because they went, oh yeah, they had Timecode, they had a solution for our Timecode problem.
So they're talking about you after the production.
Exactly, and because you've done something that's made it really simple for the production. And it's not a difficult thing really. It's okay, you have to spend some money to get that product, but once you've spent the money, you're providing such a fantastic solution for the production. So for example, I've got a Timecode clapperboard, which I use I have in my bag now all the time. And so sometimes a production will just throw a 5D camera into it, which is sometimes quite hard to get Timecode on. I say, oh, well, I've got a time-coded clapperboard. Clapperboard.
Clapperboard.
Clapperboard, and so you use that, and they love it because it looks great. Fantastic, it looks like a really good product, but in the edit it saves them so much time. So you're just helping people, but you're helping yourself as well. So it's win-win.
Perfect, mate. Everything's been amazing. Best interview ever.
Okay.
I really appreciate it.
No.
I'll get down to Rycote in a bit, and I'll mention how much you were bragging about it as well.
Okay,
I'll show them that clip.